Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 859. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Morning, Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
This is our, even though we're recording this on a Wednesday night, this news segment.
So we're going to miss a lot of stuff, I'm sure.
We're going to miss some
the earliest
stuff,
we've ever done? I think it is the earliest we've ever done.
Maybe.
It's up there. It's up there.
Yeah, I think Wednesday is sort of like as early as we'll possibly go for a Sunday episode, you know, when we're so focused on news and stuff like that. So if something has happened Thursday or Friday or Saturday, if something major has happened, you'll have already heard it because we'll throw it in a thrilling pre-credit sequence because it's the easiest way to edit something in. But thus begins the RFS 2022 holiday vacation. Because Erica and I are heading out on the road into the United States. What a great place that is these days.
What a great time to pick. Wow, yeah. It's very well thought out.
Just sort of like, you know, just cycling through for one last hurrah of the United States before it all completely falls apart. And then Chris is off to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland when I'm in there. And Warren's just staying behind.
Holding down the fort.
You know. Just in case something happens. So this week is we're finishing off our Space Museum commentary, and then next week and the week after that, it's all Fluid Links all the time. So and then the week after that, which is what, July 20-something, 4th, 6th, 26th, I think it is. It'll be the news catch up basically.
Yeah,
maybe
24th.
Maybe there'll be Comic-Con news. Who knows?
Not going to hold my breath.
No, neither am I.
No, I mean I've been following some tweets and like, you know, Marvel's going to be there, which is mildly surprising because I feel like they have their own, you know, stockholder meeting, aka convention.
What the hell does Marvel have to do with comics? Jeez,
I don't know. I had a hard time.
If they're there, then they're probably gonna do their thing. What they, you know, where he stands up and they have like the slide of the upcoming stuff. I think they're about at that point with whatever this phase is.
Oh yeah. Well, I keep seeing hints that there's going to be there's going to be clues in phase 4 here that we're almost done. But I think we'll start to find out where we're going. It's like, we don't really know where we're going. We got to edit a bunch of stuff in.
I'm pretty sure they do know where they're going. But I want to see the Scorsese one. They're the one that floats around every now and again where they have Martin Scorsese smiling behind a bunch of slides of his earlier work.
Right.
Like, with all the titles a la Marvel. That's what I want to see. I want to see him come out and direct a Marvel film just to really annoy nerds.
You know what I love is that, and this speaks to the insecurity of nerds. Basically, as they've grown up being stepped on and everything like this, and now they don't really realize that Marvel movies are about 112% of the entire box office take in the world. Like they're making 12% more money than is actually physically possible. Yet,
probably an exchange rate.
Yeah, yet when one 80-year-old director like 6 years ago says, I don't like Marvel movies, like they still aren't over it. They still aren't over it.
And the other thing is, he was asked a question and he answered it. He didn't just say out of nowhere. Like, he wasn't just like, I'm going to tell all these nerds what I think. He's just, somebody asked him and he's like, I don't particularly like him. Hey, you know why? Because he spent his entire career making his own very original of his own kind. You may not like them, but they're definitely his films. And been a film historian and restorer for a good bulk of that time. So I think he's earned the right to not like a set of films if he doesn't want to. Yep. Also, his daughter, one of them, is on, I think on Instagram, and she gave him a birthday present, I think about a year ago or whenever his birthday was, and she wrapped it in Marvel comics. And it was, I was like, she's always razzing on him for this stuff, which is great.
Even like, come on.
Which he seems to take with humor. Like, he thinks it's pretty funny, from what I could tell.
Like I said, let it go. All right. Some people, including some of the people on this podcast, are a little tired of the comic book stick. It's okay.
Yeah, I love the comic books, but I also love Martin Scorsese's films. And I also like plenty of other different kinds of movies. Tonight I'm probably going to watch Crimes of the Future, which is not a Marvel film by David Cronenberg, not a Marvel director.
Not a Marvel director yet. He's in Star Trek. He appears on screen in those Star Trek shows.
You know why he appears on screen? They interviewed him about this, and he said, well, the reason for that is I come cheap and I live close by.
I love that. Oh, my God, that's the best. That is the best.
They shoot in Toronto, right?
Reason.
Yeah,
they do shoot.
Yeah, they shoot in Toronto, and I think in North York. I could be wrong about that. I don't know if he lives in North York or not. But anyway, apparently he lives close enough they can just pop by the studio whenever they need him. And he's actually, honestly, the best part of Star Trek Discovery Season 4.
Just saying. Yeah.
Is he human or a robot or something? I never put the effort in to figure it out.
I don't know, Warren. I don't know these things. Listen, they all have personal transporters. They can just beam in and out of wherever they want unless they have to walk down a corridor to have a dialogue scene. Nothing makes any sense anymore.
They need to beam into a hug and then beam out to another hug. That's what they need to do.
Quite possibly. I don't understand.
Sounds
I just
like a
watched
great
Doctor
theme
Who.
park.
Yeah, I only watch Doctor Who. I only watch Doctor Who and other shows to watch Doctor Who actors in. Right now, I'm into Bergerac. I finished Duchess of Duke Street, a show that I had on in the background while I edit podcasts, and now I've moved on to Bergerac. I'm not paying any attention to Bergerac. I'm sorry, Bergerac scholars out there. Don't point me to episodes to look forward to these plots. I am not paying attention to any plots. I'm looking at my thing, and then I look over and I go, oh, wait a minute. That's the leader of the Tesh from The Face of Evil. I recognize that guy. Wait, that's Hieronymus from The Mask of Mandragora right there. That's Maureen O'Brien. I saw her on an episode of Bergerac today. It was.
I just had a vision of a Bergerac scholar sitting in their overstuffed chair in a sumptuous library in a smoking jacket, and they hear you talk about Bergerac scholars, and their monocle falls into their tea. And they have a moo of disappointment about what you just said.
I think the monocle would fall into their glass of brandy.
That would have been
possibly
brandy.
Yes. Depends on what time of day it is.
Yeah, which is ironic because Jim Bergerac is a recovering alcoholic in the show, so he doesn't drink. So
that you can see.
That's true.
But when he's off camera, whoo boy.
I watched an episode. It featured what's his name? Warren somebody. He went on to become Dazzle. I can't remember the name. Oh, I'm just upsetting so many people here because I can't remember the name of the actor.
Me, one of my namesakes. Come on.
You would recognize him. I only recognize him from an episode of Blackadder. But there was a chase sequence. Jim Bergerac, which sounds made up, but it's not. Jim Bergerac is played by John Nettles, was chasing this cat through the woods on Jersey. And I was thinking, for 1981 BBC film production, this is like super well cut together and shot and everything. And then the end credits came up. And it was directed by Martin Campbell, the same Martin Campbell who 25 years later would direct Casino Royale, thus relaunching James Bond. So even then, directorial talent was showing itself on BBC TV. This is what I learned. So right now, as we record this, I think Erica is watching the next episode of Ms. Marvel, and I am watching Bergerac to see if future James Bond directors are directing it.
Who's winning in this battle? Since I watched Ms. Marvel as well, I'm going to say her.
But I had a great time. I discovered something today.
Good for you,
right?
As the mother on Arrested Development said one day.
Here, go buy a Star Wars.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you want to speculate about things? I love speculating about things.
Sure,
not
why not?
Plot-wise or anything like that, but just the future of Doctor Who in this country and beyond. Not really, but there was an article in Variety about BritBox. BritBox has they're sort of like launch. They announced a bunch of made especially for BritBox originals, if you will. A lot of cozy murder mysteries. That's sort of the bread and butter of the service, apparently, overseas.
It definitely is from all the emails I keep getting.
I get it. Yeah, I know. Thinking, just cozy mysteries and stuff like that.
Yep,
all right,
that's
fine.
exactly that's the roller coaster that is a BritBox membership. What?
Yeah, I know. Like, I still remember the elation when they put the sandbaggers on that like 3 months after I asked him.
And Blake Seven, they put stuff on there. Like I'm not slagging on them here. They're giving people what they want, and most people want cozy mysteries. I happen to want ancient, creaky sci-fi and spy stuff, but that's just me.
Me too. But the fact that they quote unquote are trebling, we say tripling in this part of the world, tripling their programming spend, and given that BBC America right now is not exactly in the most optimal of shape. So we looked on what was airing today, Wednesday, June 29th, as we record this, and on BBC America. And you'll be shocked to learn that not a single program on this day in history actually originates from the BBC, nor even the UK itself. There was various versions of Star Trek, there, including I think 6 episodes of TNG in a row, and then there was G.I. Jane and The Hurt Locker, repeated back to back. What I'm getting at here is that it feels like and Warren, you and I worked in the cable industry. We know what this is all about. As
garbage. That's what it's about.
Eventually, some stations just become a repository for various programming that they have the rights to, and they sort of maybe need to either A, fill a schedule, or B, fulfill a contract by showing it a certain number of times. And
televisual junk drawer, that's what that is.
Yeah, and I'm really getting the impression that this is what's happening to BBC America. Now, the BBC sold off their stake to BritBox in the UK, but they still own shares of it internationally. There's basically two prongs to the international strategy of BritBox. There's BritBox, like Nordics is I think just recently launched, and I think elsewhere, and then there's BBC, rather BritBox in Canada and the US, which is sort of its own entity. And given that they're spending a lot more money on that and what looks to be nothing on BBC America. Let me tell you, the BBC America press site, still crickets. There has been a single Doctor Who update since October. There's been 4 updates total, 4 press releases total in the calendar year of 2022, as we rapidly approach the second half of said calendar year. I'm beginning to think that whatever money BBC had in BBC America is very much moving to BritBox. The speculation here, this is based on nothing other than that they are open up their checkbook like a 2016 Netflix executive.
Wow,
and,
not quite like that. Otherwise, dollars would just fall out and run away.
That's true. My speculation here, pure speculation, is that maybe they have some money set aside for Doctor Who missing episodes animations.
I mean, it'd be cool.
Speculation. It would be cool.
I'd love it if it was true.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's going to show up anywhere, like we were talking about how BBC America, which is owned by AMC, they also own Shudder, and Shudder is a perfect example of what BBC America should be doing and isn't, because they cater to the horror niche and they cater to several sub-niches within that, and they know exactly what they're doing, and they have a pretty loyal following because of it. And BritBox kind of does the same thing with what they're doing. So I could totally see them, more than BBC America, spending the money on this animation.
Mm-hmm. You never know. Just given the fact that this is where money is going right now. They haven't really added much in the way of Doctor Who. Big breaking news though. Over the past couple of weeks, they did add back the Dominators. It's back on BritBox. That's giant news. So if you were marathoning all the existing Patrick Troughton episodes, well, you've got the Dominators back. So, and they still have only done an official telesnap recon of the Wheel in Space. The only place you can find that is on BritBox. Still to this day, I think it's like 2 years old now. Like it was, it's been there for quite a while. So maybe BritBox is sort of like the reason I speculate is because it seems to be this is where the money is going for Doctor Who in North America, or programming from the UK, and not so much BBC America. BBC America used to be funding the animated recons. That stopped in like July or September of last year, and has yet to find new funding for them. So will that be BritBox? Stay tuned.
Mm.
I know.
There's the press release.
And we'll get it like several weeks later or something. So Ryan Gosling, who of course is famous for directing the film that cast Matt Smith as a rapper, forcing him to shave his head and thus wear a wig for his final story, The Time of the Doctor. He's famous for that and nothing else. He's also in the upcoming Barbie movie. So is Ncuti Gatwa. Ryan Gosling was spotted wearing a fan art version of Ncuti Gatwa as Doctor Who, a T-shirt. Ryan Gosling in a Ncuti Gatwa as Doctor Who T-shirt. Russell T Davies posted about this on Instagram. It all went nuts. Matthew purchased the Cyber Devil on Twitter, who designed this, back in May, was it? On like it wasn't
cool
for
costume.
sale. It was just
I kind of hope that's his real costume, which probably isn't.
Yeah. Chris, you looked into this. What was the story with this? The whole timeline, if you can piece it together.
Oh, I haven't a sweet clue.
Okay.
I have no idea when this was made. I don't know.
All right.
I heard of nothing until the RTD Instagram post the other day.
Oh, okay. I thought it was May. I thought he'd sort of he made the artwork in May, not for sale or anything like that. Then somebody took that because, this is what happens on the internet. They grabbed it. It wasn't an NFT, so it was freely available.
Those are also freely available if you right click.
Yes, and here's the fun thing. Somebody also made money off it, so it's also not like an NFT.
Good point, yes.
And printed it on a T-shirt. Matthew purchased the Cyber Devil on Twitter, tried to put his own version up on Redbubble, hoping that with the proceeds going to charity. But the BBC says, but no, this is not right. But there still might be other versions out there because the internet and stuff. So long story short, there's Ryan Gosling.
Sites.
There is bootleg sites and everything, but there's Ryan Gosling. Sporting a T-shirt featuring his co-star from the Barbie movie coming out in July of next year, as the Doctor.
So there's three possibilities here. One, Ryan Gosling is a Doctor Who fan, which cool. Two, people who dress Ryan Gosling, because it's entirely possible that's the case, are Doctor Who fans and snuck that in, which is also kind of cool. Or three, he's just giving the Ncuti Gatwa a hard time, which is also kind of cool. That means they probably get along.
I'm not sure a hard time. I think he's thinking this is so awesome.
Having fun is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, I don't know Canada has a monopoly on amazingly cool Ryan Gosling and Ryan Reynolds.
Well, that's two. Who are the other ones?
There are no other ones.
But he's
Ryan O'Neill. He's American. Oh, is he Irish? Is he Irish American? He was Irish.
I don't know. Barry Lyndon was Barry Lyndon even Irish? I don't remember.
Well, the character was Irish in Barry Lyndon. Anyway, what I mean to say is I think he's a nice fellow, is Ryan Gosling. I don't know that for sure. But the fact that he's from Canada, although to be fair, he's from London, Ontario.
Kevin O'Leary's from Canada, and I would never want to meet him socially. So let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe this is just Ryan Gosling going, you know what? I want to support my co-star on this movie and say, hey, look at him. He's the new Doctor Who. I'm starring in a movie with the new Doctor Who. Like
that's still fine.
It's going to be really fine.
The other possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, like Ncuti Gatwa was in Sex Education and everything like that. But by the time this Barbie movie comes out, Ncuti Gatwa will most likely have been filming. He'll probably start filming in October of this year. And maybe we'll have seen him at some point in some other thing, even though technically he's not actually taking over until 2024, a.k.a. during the presidential primary season.
Oh,
for
God.
Crying out loud.
One ray of light in a horrific nightmare world that we're going to be in by that time.
Yeah, it's that far away.
Where Robo-Trump runs for president.
Yeah, so it's fascinating to see this slow build of Ncuti Gatwa as Doctor Who, even though we're really far away from it. So anyway, it was quite a scene, and good job for Matthew purchasing his what? That's my artwork. I mean, okay, it was
that's
stolen.
That's gotta be surreal.
Yeah, okay, it was
really weird.
Yeah, it was stolen, but Ryan Gosling is wearing it, and Russell T Davies is tweeting about it, and the BBC are joking about it, and then eventually taking it down off of Redbubble. So,
well, the official BBC Doctor Who account tweeted about the stuff, and then but the BBC being as big an organization as it is, the left hand and the right hand aren't necessarily in agreement.
That was the lawyer Claw, I believe, which is an entirely different appendage.
Yeah. Maybe that was the new brand manager. Have they hired a new brand manager yet? I wonder. I don't know.
He just walked in and started knocking things over. Not on my watch.
Here's your Twitter account. That's what we'll let you do for now. You can add emojis to tweets and stuff like that, but that's all we'll let you do for now. But anyway, so that was probably the most exciting thing that happened all week in Doctor Who land. Although Julie Gardner's now in Cardiff, I don't know why she wasn't there before. But Russell T Davies posted that, so they're still making Doctor Who. This is quite something, given that they've been shooting a long time with David Tennant and Catherine Tate for Doctor Who. Like they started early May? When they went on location, it was week 2. They already shot a week in studio, and then they went on location for week 2. We're at the end of June now. That is well over 6, almost 8 weeks now, pretty much. It's a lot of time. A lot of time shooting TV show. Just saying.
Well, you try remaking series 3 and 4.
they're just straight up doing remakes. Scene for scene remakes.
Nonsensical rumor I just started.
Yep. Could be, Warren. Who am I to argue with? I can't prove you wrong. Well,
I really hope I'm wrong about something I just made up.
Just asking questions. That's all.
Oh God.
Any further comment on the Ryan Gosling Ncuti Gatwa T-shirt gate?
Kind of weirdly amusing. I had to do a double take. I'm like, is that what I think it is? Oh, it is. All right.
It is.
Well,
yeah.
Sure.
It's fun. It's fun when Doctor Who just sort of, enters the common world. Like I was joking about how comic book nerds are still like, apprehensive, like, oh, people are going to dump on us because of our comic book films that like make $1.8 trillion a week.
I think that's us talking about our residual feelings. I don't know if the current crop of nerds cares.
I guess, but here we are, Doctor Who, approaching its 59th anniversary in November, and we still, let's face it, we all still have that.
Yes,
people hate our show.
That's us. Like
it is.
A 16-year-old Doctor Who fan may have a completely different outlook on this than us.
Yeah, that's true. Or let's face it, any other Doctor Who fan that doesn't watch old episodes of Bergerac looking for people who are also in Doctor Who. Those type of people, the norms as we call them.
All norms are our enemy.
The ones who just watch. A friend of ours. We were just talking about, like, she hadn't watched Flux yet. She's a casual fan. She's like, I'll watch when it's there. Watches other stuff and everything. And she was remarking about how like she just doesn't hear about Doctor Who anymore. It's just like, I'll get to that series whenever. Maybe once the new one comes back. And it's fun talking to norms sometimes, because what people who watch the show but don't watch episodes of Bergerac looking for people who are in Doctor Who, and to get an indication of how they are feeling towards Doctor Who, and do they care? And for the most part, they just they'll watch it when it's on, and when it's not, they'll do other things. And it's good to have that perspective. And it's good also to actually maybe have a show that's produced on a more frequent basis, so that people don't just outrightly forget about Doctor Who.
It's good to have perspective, period, Stephen. I think is what you're trying to say here.
That's true.
And I'm just as bad. Like I have sunk into I don't care anymore. I just don't watch anything. I read a book or two, play some video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lack of what's getting produced and aired is doubtless a big factor, but we're also well past the days of Ron McLean talking about Doctor Who on Hockey Night in Canada.
I for one am happy about that, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Oddly enough, the biggest year in Canadian Doctor Who was when there was no Hockey Night in Canada, because there was no hockey that year. So
yeah,
but
I don't know. I mean, as we've talked about before, Chibnall's lack of enthusiasm for the marketing side of things,
and the making of the show. Let's face it,
a lot was thrust upon him for that side of things, but. With RGD a lot more willing to go out there and be the bubbly face of the program. I'd like to think we're going to get more stuff happening, but when we have 3 episodes this year and 7 last year, and it's hard to build momentum of any sort.
It really is. It really
RGD is not only the bubbly face of this program, he's a bubbly face of the other programs he's working on at the same time. So it's kind of crazy I don't know how he has, at almost 60, the energy to do that. I can barely get out of bed, frankly, but
I know. Well, it doesn't stay up as late as we talked about last week, but
true.
If it was the 70s, I'd say cocaine, but I don't think we're there. So.
No, I think we're there yet. No, I mentioned earlier that if there's a Doctor Who contingent at Comic-Con, I also am leaning towards no, just because the people who made the last episode that's going to air have long since moved on, and Russell T Davies wisely doesn't want to step in the limelight too much, especially for something that won't air until after the next San Diego Comic-Con will even happen. So there's this weird gulf in, it just feels sad that we are watching Russell T Davies' Instagram posts for stuff that's coming for a year and a half from now. Meanwhile, Jodie Whittaker's closing episode of her entire era is basically an afterthought at this point, and there's no build up to it yet. I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure come October but even then it'll be like, oh, the BBC is 100 and look at all these things that the BBC did and Doctor Who was one of them, but here I just feel like it's going to get sort of overshadowed, like it's already being overshadowed right now, and it's a shame. It shouldn't be that way, but
to be fair about San Diego Comic-Con, even if this is like a normal year or whatever, they would be going to promote something that's coming out in October. So even that would be a bit of a stretch normally.
No, I don't know what
if they weren't publicity. I don't see it happening if this is this is like a regular year and not a finale.
Well, I mean, Marvel is going to be there, and they have the Thor movie coming out now, and then November is the next one. I don't know which one it is.
But they've got a pipeline of stuff, and the Doctor Who's just not in that situation. It's got one thing coming out in October, right? So
put all your attention into the one thing. Take the slot as offered, instead of what you did in 2019 and just not show up for Comic-Con and promote the show, and promote Jodie Whittaker's last episode. Because
I'm not saying I'm thrilled about it. I'm just saying I could see why that's the case. Like if it was coming out in August or something, maybe, but...
well, I don't know. No, I think Comic-Con is such a big monolith of an event that I think you can promote stuff for months in advance, because by that time... We've seen trailers. We've seen everything. We've seen it all, as Patrick Stewart said in Extras. Whereas you can launch that first trailer. Remember, we got or people in attendance only got an early version of the trailer for the 50th anniversary at Comic-Con in 2013. So I think October's a perfect time. A perfect time to launch the first trailer for it. Whether or not there will be a panel, I don't think there will be a panel.
No.
I don't know what there will be in terms of Doctor Who. But I wish there was something for Doctor Who. But
we're going to get a trailer a week ahead of time. That's what's going to happen, same as last time. I guarantee it's going to happen.
Yeah, we won't know the broadcast date. Both Ward and Chris have travel plans sometime in October. We're looking at the calendar going, we're going to get screwed here, aren't we? Because we won't even know when that damn episode's going to air. And it's going to happen when one or both
2
of you
weeks
are
ahead of
gone.
time, if that.
Yeah. My word. What a state. What a state Doctor Who
is
in.
How much of that is Chibnall's fault? That might very well be weird apathy in some arm of the BBC that we don't know about. Or it could be both. We just aren't privy to this.
Yeah. I want a book. I want to see. No, who am I kidding? I won't read the book. I want to watch the DVD commentary or documentary.
Watch the studio footage of Chibnall failing.
Sure. I just like why did the BBC get rid of the brand manager position and then said, okay, let's hire a brand manager again. It just, you could see it. You missed it. You saw, Stephen, you missed the love and care that the BBC had for Doctor Who.
You said it earlier. We both worked in TV. This is par for the course.
Yes. They learn from their mistakes.
Damn clue what they're doing over and over and over again.
Yeah. Hopefully they learn from the mistakes, Chris, because we're still living through it right now. Maybe that brand new brand manager is in place or will be in place in time for Comic-Con and will drum up something for it, because it's the first in-person Comic-Con in 3 years feels like too good of an opportunity to miss. And even if the principals who are involved in the production have long since moved on, I mean, a child has been created in between the making of and the broadcast of. Jodie Whittaker was pregnant, now is with has a newborn. A lot of time has passed. Do they say, oh yeah, let's promote that one episode of Doctor Who and then go away and wait for the next people to come along? We shall see. But this is the last time to talk about it and speculate about it. By the time we get together next, even though Chris will still be in the UK, we will have had our answer. So this is why we're getting all of our speculating and thinking and let's face it, drinking out of the way.
Mostly
right
drinking.
Now. Mostly drinking. Let's take for the last time for a few weeks, because we're putting this on ice because nothing aired in the summer in history in Doctor Who. It's time for the Timelash. 4 total episodes aired this week in history, which I'm sure we talked about last year, so forgive us if we're repeating ourselves. But the Time Meddler Part 1 aired on July 3rd, 1965. Douglas Camfield directed.
Is there a reason he hasn't come back yet?
Douglas Canfield or the
no, not
meddling
Douglas,
monk?
the Time Meddler. Like the Time Meddler's presumably come back in Big Finish, but like in the show itself, like there's
Dalek's
nothing.
master plan.
Is there something? Well, yeah, okay, yes, but is there something problematic about him I've forgotten about?
No,
Not really, no.
he's just a silly. He's a silly Time Lord, and you know, he's not much of a villain. He's sort of a scamp, an imp. You know,
He's the kind of
bring him back.
He's the kind of guy who, at the end of the episode, the Doctor would tousle his hair and say, "Don't do that again."
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not going to kill you or anything. I'm just going to, look at that. I took your dimensional stabilizer from your TARDIS. Spoilers for the Time Meddler, by the way. You know, like, look at you. We're playing tricks on each other, you know? I kind of like that. I kind of like that relationship. I think that TV needs more less fatal adversarial conflicts.
Well, that was
like
Twice Upon a Time, wasn't
it? Who were they in conflict with in Twice?
Well, they weren't really in conflict. It was Testimony was looking to document people, and at one point 12 goes, I don't know what to do when I don't have an evil plan to foil.
That's true.
So that was kind of cool. That's an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was fun though. Fun. First episode, of course, without Barbara and Ian, which is always fun. But yeah, Time Meddler. July 3rd. I already talked about this episode last week inadvertently because I'm a horrible fan. But Journey's End aired July the 5th, 2008. That's 14 years ago, folks. Journey's End. I already said my piece about Journey's End last week. Anybody else want to talk about Journey's End?
Chris, go ahead.
I've never been a fan of it.
No. Is it the whole thing that you're not a fan of, or is it just the end? Because I feel like the end is kind of where I kind of get off. But the train.
I want to say the entirety of the episode.
Wow.
Like I was talking about last week, like Stolen Earth, from a plot standpoint, is gobbledygook. But Journey's End, I don't know. I'm trying to remember. So when I bought the Tenant Blu-ray set back when that came out, I'm trying to remember if I watched Stolen Earth, Journey's End, because I might have skipped them, because I skipped some stories.
Really?
Wow.
Well, I skipped End of Time, for example. There's no way I was watching that.
That's right.
I might have skipped Journey's End and Stolen Earth, Journey's End. It's possible. I don't know. But the other day, came home from work and Kat was watching the Series 9 opener. And I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed Davros in that. So I might have to go back and revisit Stolen Earth and Journey's End. Maybe even turn left, just start there and just see what I think about it these days. But I don't know.
Yeah. Warren, you got anything?
Well, see, that's mentioning Davros. That's the one thing I really like about it. I think Julian Bleach is phenomenal as Davros in this, and in his later exploits as Davros too. But Chris is pretty much right about everything else. Like, I love Stolen Earth. I think it's a hell of a lot of fun. RTD just goes, I'm going to throw everything at the floor or at the wall, and then he does, and it hits the wall and goes dripping down. And this one does it, and it just gets dumber and dumber and dumber. It's like, I've got the Omelette Memorandum or whatever it is that Martha's got, or I've got a white star. I'm just mixing up.
Key?
Yeah, whatever the hell it is. Who cares?
Omelette Memorandum.
I just wanted to say Omelette Memorandum, to be honest. But they've all got like, here, I've got a MacGuffin. No, I have an even bigger MacGuffin. No, I've got a bigger MacGuffin still. And it's like, we've got the reality bomb. And the best thing about the reality bomb is the podcast who stole its name. And so, and then the part at the end with Donna is really uncomfortable still and not cool in a sort of Star Trek 6, the Undiscovered Country. You shouldn't have found out the information that way sort of way that I don't want to get any further details on. And yeah, it's got its moments. And then I really hate Handy Doctor. I think it's one of the stupidest things the show's done in its long history of having done stupid things. Over 60 years, you can't help but do a lot of dumb stuff. But this is one of the dumber ones as far as I'm concerned. And it takes Donna's agency away, and it's incoherent mumbling.
Yeah, I know.
Would you say that with the whole lottery ticket thing as well, that removes even more of her agency?
It's a nice little bit, though. It's a nice sentimental bit, so I don't care about that part.
It's
one of the few things I like in End of Time. Give me that, for God's sakes.
Yeah, it's true. He buys it for Howard, who, of course, the actor had passed away, and that was, I think that's kind of that. But you're right. It's like, since you're terrible with money, I'm going to buy you a lottery ticket that's guaranteed to win. So now you don't even have to work for a living. You don't even have to achieve anything.
Which isn't even an original thing in the series, because he does that in the school reunion.
That's true. Yeah, to get a job there.
Yeah.
Yeah, right at the moment where, like, I remember it was building up, thinking, oh, what's going to happen here? And then all of a sudden Donna goes, and spin. And she, like, all of a sudden the Daleks just sort of spin around, and it gets silly. It becomes episode 4 of The Chase, all of a sudden, like, stuck in the middle of Journey's End.
You can do silly, but it's got to be fun silly. And this is just kind of like forced silly. I don't know. I'm sure some people love it, and more power to you if you do. But
I
think you both have convinced me. I'm not going to watch this thing.
I don't know if I'm proud about that or not, but I guess it happened.
You were sufficiently persuasive.
Yeah,
great. I guess
there was also what did I dislike? Not that we're just here to dump on it. I mean, I'm sure there's like somewhere in the midst of those 45 minutes is some good stuff.
Julian,
isn't it like 6 hours long? Like, isn't that one of those extended?
It's like 71 or something.
RTD said, "I need more time." BBC and
also,
BBC said, "Okay."
Yeah,
I'll say one thing I do like, that once again, Davros thinks he's in charge, and oh boy, isn't he? As per usual, which I always love to see for some reason. It gives me endless amusement.
Yeah, I mean, there's the dragging the Earth across space, which gives everyone some, it's kind of fun. It's like riding a mild roller coaster ride, which is totally what happens. Oh, there was something I was really going to dump on, and now I've forgotten what it was. Oh, what a shame. There's something I can't remember that I didn't like about a Doctor Who episode.
The panning across the TARDIS with everybody smiling at each other. I know a lot of people love it. To me, it's the whole son of a woman moment, where the show is very impressed with itself and has to tell you how impressed with itself it is. And they're just sort of putting a button on it as far as I'm concerned. But I am a curmudgeonly old jerk.
Yeah, I didn't mind that bit. I thought it was kind of fun. This episode did finish number 1 of the week. Like, it was 1. Like, everyone just was wanting to know what the hell was going to happen from the week prior, given that David Tennant's Doctor was regenerating at the end of it. And then, as you say, it became handy. I remember what it was now. I said this at the time, because you remember the beach scene at the end of Doomsday, right? Like, it's staggeringly emotional.
Oh, it still is.
Shot by Graham Harper, as this was. But then they used all natural sound. For Journey's End, they tried to recreate it. And the wind was bad, and so they had to ADR everything. And so, like, any emotion that might have been there for real in the original beach scene was just gone for this reshoot of it. And it cheapened that moment,
Revisiting that cheapens it in the first place.
It does. It really does. Yeah, I imagine they probably thought, oh, they're going to love it. They're going to eat this up. They're going to, oh, it's that beach again. It's like, oh, well, like, just know here you go. Here's your sex toy, Doctor. You can go off into the other adventure with it. He won't even speak. He doesn't even speak during that scene. It's just like he's not even Time Lord. He's just human, but you can have a relationship with him. So off you go.
I want to go against trend here and say something good about the episode.
Okay. You're going to watch it. You're going to watch it again.
No, I'm not.
No, I don't know.
Song of Freedom. Murray Gold's music over the big TARDIS console scene was
that music is good. Yeah,
gorgeous.
Good song. That's pretty good, I guess.
There's a lot of good music in it. Gold is always decent,
Gold is never silver, is what you mean to say.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Always gold.
It's terrible.
It was bad. I thought it was a little over top the music myself for that, but what do you do? Maybe I'll watch it. I won't watch it. I'm going on vacation.
Wait, there is one other good thing about this. The fact that it just ends on Tennant sad in the TARDIS.
It wasn't going to be. It wasn't going to be originally.
I know, but I like that they made that choice. That was a great bit to end on.
That's true. They almost did another what bit when the Cybermen zap in and it segues into the next Doctor and goes, what?
I'm glad they didn't, though. I thought that was actually, and actually the Murray Gold music there is phenomenal, too.
Yeah. It's almost abrupt in a way. It's almost a bit abrupt. You could tell that it wasn't original because they zoom in on it. I felt like if they had planned it, they would have zoomed out on the empty TARDIS that we had just seen minutes ago with 9 people around it and all hugging and celebrating. And then you zoom out from that same TARDIS console and it's just the Doctor, and then you cut to the credits. Had they planned it that way, I think it would have been better. The fact that they actually shot it intending to have the Cybermen show up right away tells you that even then it was like, We need to know what we're doing here. And thought differently in the edit.
I got the feeling they thought they knew what they were doing here, and it didn't quite. It looked like in the shop worn tradition of Hollywood, the cast was having a great time, which usually means you're not gonna.
Yeah. That's time monster syndrome right there is what that is.
Or any number of films where it's like, oh, I could tell they're having a great time, but what good's it going to do me? My $14 are gone from this film.
Yeah. I mentioned Doomsday. We're hitting the 16th anniversary of Doomsday, everyone. July the 8th, 2006. Rose Tyler, the story of how she died. Officially, she's still alive in the other universe. At the end of that, and yeah, there's your like separated by 2 years and 3 days. My heavens, the ending of that still gets me. You know,
it's same here. It's great. It's really good.
Yeah. Like Chris, even you, a music snob, in that you don't pay attention to any music that's happening on a TV show or anything, apart from Songs of Freedom. Apparently,
it's not that I don't pay attention. It just doesn't register when I hear it.
But even you must have noticed the pulsating bass line coming in. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like was it the first Doctor Who at the Proms? Like the live performance, that was like really, really good.
Yeah, but that was like later that summer. I don't remember when the first Proms was for Doctor Who. Was it that? It wasn't that early. It was. They did a concert. It was
2006 or 7 in Cardiff.
Yeah, it wasn't Royal Albert Hall, but it was a concert. I don't remember how many Proms they've done. I've lost track. I know they did 1 or 2, but I don't think that was the first. Anyways, they're live concert though, and they played it, and everyone would go, "Oh my god, that's the music from Thursday."
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. It wasn't Proms. Proms is, yeah, but they did Proms, but not that. Yeah. That wasn't it.
Anyway, they did it. Yes. They did a concert though, back when they just did Doctor Who concert. Remember those days? Remember they did Doctor Who concerts? The full orchestra, and people would show up and watch it.
No, I don't remember these halcyon days. Everything past the 50th anniversary has been a complete disaster. Yell, scream.
Kind of, yeah. Anyway, Doomsday is pretty great. It's amazing that, we always talk about the beach scene and everything else, and the Doctor and Rose being separated, and we never mention oh, by the way, Daleks and Cybermen fought. Well,
and the best part about that is they do it in a crappy corridor, as is proper and tradition.
That's true.
And then they just crap talk each other, which I love.
Yeah, it says a lot. It's kind of it reminds me of how I think George Lucas thought that what he thought made Star Wars popular wasn't what everyone else thought made Star Wars popular. And so it's kind of let's cram this movie full of lightsaber stuff and amazing looking digital sets and everything. Whereas people were just thinking, we just want to watch Han Solo banter with a Wookiee. And it's kind of like someone made a Doctor Who episode going, oh, Daleks and Cybermen, they're gonna go crazy watching this, and no one remembers it. Everyone just remembers the beach scene with Rose and the Doctor.
Well, okay, well, here's the thing. This is RTD has definitely got a problem, and maybe he doesn't anymore. I hope not with the new series of shows. But he definitely has a problem with endings, and this one is a pretty damn good ending as far as
very good ending. Go. Let's face it. Let's put our colors up the mast here. This is the last good ending in the Russell T Davies era.
Well, yeah, I guess you're probably right.
Yeah. I mean, Last of the Time Lords, we had issues with that. We certainly just had issues with Journey's End, and the less said about the end of time, the better.
Noises.
Yeah. Look at that. Eh? Second year in, nails the ending. Fails every time after.
There's still some cringeworthy stuff in there, Cybermen are only good at one thing, dying.
That's great. I love that.
I just trashed
that whole Nick Briggs talking to Nick Briggs interchange just.
Some don't want that. Some of us do want that.
I've just never been a fan of the dialogue in that, and it doesn't help that it's Nick Briggs talking to Nick Briggs.
When the Dimension Arc, or whatever the hell it's called, shows up,
Genesis Arc.
Thank you, Genesis Arc. My fan head went a-spinning with speculations. This is Time Lord technology. Could that mean they're coming back? Blubbity 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 blur.
I like that. Even though Mickey's all badass now, he still does another turn as Mickey the idiot by being the one to touch the Genesis Arc and open it up as well.
That's
I mean,
true.
doesn't he get like thrown onto it or something? I don't remember.
Yeah.
He doesn't do
It's
it on
not
purpose.
No. But it's still like, it's still his fault. Like it, like he hadn't grown, like it was still Rose or something like that.
16 years ago, Doomsday. Also, The War Machines Part 3 aired, but
The real champion of this week.
Yep, I think that might have been the cardboard box episode. I could be wrong about that, but
Well, I stand by my earlier statement then.
yeah, which is perfect because up until The Abominable Snowman, Doctor Who shot all their location film, as did the BBC, on 35 millimeter. Because it was so rare at the time, they thought, oh, sure, we'll shoot with 35 mil. And then as more and more productions did more location shooting, they thought this is becoming expensive, so let's dumb it down to 16 mil. And so that's why everything looks like crap after that. What makes War Machines so great is that they still have the film rushes from the location shoot, which is why it looks better than any Doctor Who
phenomenal.
made in the 20th century.
It really does
face
look great. Like,
literally no other Doctor Who looks as good as the War
2
Machines
minutes or
location
whatever it is.
footage. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the only true HD stuff shot until Planet of the Dead.
And the best part is that then it pops right back into crappy tape, and you're like, oh, I don't hate this.
405 line to
crappy tape,
pristine 35 mil. I know. Yeah.
You want cozy murders? I want crappy looking videotape.
I did too. Listen, that's why Bergerac is on in the background with the audio down while I'm editing, because it's not multicam studio. God help me, there's something wrong with me. I don't understand
just
why.
one thing?
I have a
Just
lesser
the one
version of the
thing.
same syndrome, so don't worry about that.
No, that's good. All right, let's
Or
let's
do
wrap
worry
it.
about it, because I don't want to be like me.
That's true. Let's wrap up the Timelash. Again, we're taking a bit of a break over the next few weeks because of vacations and because nothing happens in the Timelash, but it will return one day. Look at this, almost 50 minutes worth of nonsense on this podcast. How do you people put up with this? I don't know. But thank you for doing so. Let's quickly rattle off some Big Finish stuff. Doctor Who, the Ninth Doctor, Into the Stars, is due out in August of this year. Would you believe that Maureen O'Brien, the aforementioned Maureen O'Brien, who was in an episode of Bergerac I watched earlier today, not playing Vicky, but is actually playing a couple of different roles in this adventure? There's a great picture of Christopher Eccleston and Maureen O'Brien, both veterans of Doctor Who, posing together, which is pretty great, pretty cool. So that's coming out in August. What else we got here in the old Big Finish canon? The Sixth Doctor Adventures Purity Undreamed, also coming out in August. So that's their Big Finish Master. Nemesis Express coming out in October.
With
With
friend of the show, Elizabeth Myles, has written a Chronovore story. She's bringing in that Chronovore content, or as I like to call it, Chron-Con.
Chron-Con. I thought you had Chron-Con earlier this year.
I kind of did, yeah.
Yeah, Chronovore. Yeah, capture the Chronovore with an exclamation point next to that. By the way, I should mention. What else is happening? There's so much. There's been so much. Like Big Finish, like realize, RFS is going on holiday. Let's throw out all these press releases. November, sticking with Chris Eccleston. This came out on June 30th. This is happening. This is happening after we're recording, folks. But it's gonna be out by the time you're actually hearing it. The Ninth Doctor Adventures Hidden Depths, with another episode written by Liz Myles. She's writing everything for every Doctor ever. The Seas of Titan is one of the episodes in that. That's coming out in November. And lastly, the Seventh Doctor is on thin ice. They meet the Cybermen. But
not just any Cybermen.
No. So, yeah, they have like the 60 Cybermen, like the Wheel in Space Cybermen. But then in behind there, Icy Silver Nemesis Cybermen, Icy Silver Nemesis Cybermen, which is cool. Also, quite something, this is somewhat notable, is that there is a story called The Reboss Inheritance. Mm-hmm. Yep. It even features Garon, originally played by the late Ian Cuthbertson, of course, but there's a new voice, obviously, for Garon. So that's not written by Elizabeth Myles, which I would think would be, just in order to, as a reference, as a poke to Erica in the great underrated story that is the Reboss operation. Yeah, bit of a prequel / sequel to the Reboss operation in Silver and Ice. That's coming out. That's the 7th Doctor adventure. That's coming out later this year too. So
no, it's out now.
It's out now. Buy it now. I couldn't see where it was, and I thought, let's just hope that I got the release date right. Went vague and said later. It's out now from bigfinish.com.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. That's it for us, folks. For this podcast, for us, there's a commentary coming up, but you will not hear any new information from us for the next couple weeks. But enjoy the commentaries, enjoy the fluid links. But for now, here is part 4 of our classic series commentary of Doctor Who and the Space Museum.
Condenser, most merciful. We're looking forward to excellent duodecaphonic sound.
This is the moment when I get a real feeling of job satisfaction.
This is it, folks. This is the last episode of Serial Q, Doctor Who, the Space Museum. Episode named The Final Phase. This is it. Hope you've enjoyed these commentaries up until now, or hope you've enjoyed us nattering on in the background while we watch Doctor Who, so you don't have to. Pretty much amounts to the same thing. Because here we go. We're going to watch episode 4 now of the Space Museum on our legally purchased Blu-rays and DVDs. So hope you've got those queued up as well, because here we go.
You betcha.
Doctor Who, Final Phase, in 3, 2, 1... play. Apparently, the original, like we've been commenting just about how long these episodes are, none of them really top 23 minutes. This one is only 22:18. A lot of the comedy elements that were apparently in this were chopped out for some reason. And I obviously it wasn't...
Always get rid of the funny.
Well, it wasn't for time, obviously, because they got enough time. But I don't know if Mervyn Pinfield, no-nonsense Mervyn Pinfield, directing his last Doctor Who story here.
I was going to say, did a ancestor of Zack Snyder to get a hold of this?
Yeah, I don't know.
This looks amusing. Get it out of here.
Apparently, the target novelization reinstates that a lot because Glyn Johns wrote it. Glyn Johns? Glyn Jones? Jones. Glyn Johns is a record engineer for recordings. Glyn Jones wrote there he is. Glyn Jones wrote this. Glyn Johns made John Bonham's drums sound awesome on Led Zeppelin records. That's why.
Of course he did. I knew it.
Yeah.
We get the Zeppelin agenda somewhere.
Heroes all. Heroes all.
I'm getting a real Starlost vibe off all this, especially due to these guys.
Oh my God, Warren! We got to do something with the Starlost in the
we absolutely
in the
do.
year and a half in between Doctor Who episodes that we're about to endure.
Well, we should just pick one. I don't know. The best is the right way to put it, but one of the notable Starlost episodes to do a commentary about that, just for the hell of it.
Oh, I don't know. Something's gonna happen. Something.
Well, we'll just wax on about the technical stuff. In fact, I know which one to do because I actually kind of enjoy it. The one where they shrink and they go into the computer, because there's a whole bunch of Canadian actor history in there too, and there's a bunch of not technically impressive, but technically impressive stuff to talk about.
Right. For those that don't know, and that's all of you, the Starlost was a show that was written by Harlan Ellison and championed by Keir Dullea from 2001. Douglas Trumbull was going to be in charge of all the effects and stuff. They imagined this big budget super TV series set in space on like a big giant space ark and stuff, and they tried to pitch it around with this new revolutionary filming system, which kind of became scene sync in the years to come, but wasn't in 1972. And eventually it just got dumbed down and whittled down and made cheaper and finally filmed in like a cheap TV studio in Toronto. And it's one of the worst looking TV shows you've ever seen. But because of that, it's utterly fascinating. Yeah, yes. It's absolutely fascinating.
Weirdos like us.
Yep. All the episodes are on my YouTube page. If you want to watch them, believe me, a lot of people watch them on my YouTube page.
Shockingly, not pulled down at all. Nobody cares.
Nope. It's tough to get the DVD. Both you and I, Warren, ordered
We've got it.
on the same day we ordered it. I think during a recording. I think we ordered it and looked at it.
I think we did, yeah. And I've watched all the way through it.
I still haven't. I stalled out at like episode 10, but whatever.
And the pitch reel where Keir Dullea and Douglas Trumbull talk about the amazing new scene sync
I know.
technology. Shot on film, ironically.
Yeah,
huh?
I know. That's a funny thing. Blissful. It's fascinating. It's honestly, it's the TV projects that fail, which is much more interesting to me.
Totally.
You know, because they didn't set out to make it that way. It just happened to be that way. The space, you know, we're looking at the Space Museum here. It is one of the cheaper stories in Doctor Who history because other stories
were they holding back budget for the chase or something?
I'm pretty. Maybe they were making up for it for all the money they overspent on the Web Planet, if anything.
Possibly, yeah.
You know, and so you have to kind of have these little filler episodes, which has, you know, some sets there, but like a lot of the props are reused. The costumes are pretty basic. You're making a cheap story of Doctor Who because you know what? You've got 4 weeks to fill. And this isn't just Doctor Who. I love watching the bad episodes of Next Generation because they're just, most of them are just bottle episodes. They have no guest actors at all. No new sets are built. They have some effect sequences possible, but even those can be recycled and just like, you know, used with different backdrops of the Enterprise hovering over a planet. And they're made so cheaply, but they, you know what? They got to fill a week. And so that's what they do.
That's not just old TV or sci-fi TV. That's all TV.
All TV.
To this day.
Yeah.
Even streaming stuff is that.
Yeah.
Like, even streaming stuff, you get the exact same thing.
That said, I still flash back to all the reused stuff in Battlestar Galactica, for example.
Oh, probably. Yeah. I haven't seen that show in a long time, you understand. So
1978.
You know, there's another. We talked about Greatest American Hero. Battlestar Galactica, it is very much a 1978 TV show with a bunch of 1978 stuff going on, but the actual stories themselves are pretty solid.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I mean, it's not the new one. The new one is a league above that, obviously. But for its time, it's pretty well put together.
This this prop right there that we just zoomed out of appears in the Wheel in Space. I think it's in the Dominators, and it's certainly in Spearhead from. I said Spearhead from Space. The Wheel in Space and Spearhead from Space. So it goes into the 1970s. That prop right there. That's speaking of also, reusing props.
I will never mention Battlestar Galactica 1978 without singing the praises of, you guessed it, Lucifer, the gayest robot ever to exist.
There it is.
He is awesome. He is. And if he was ever on a season of RuPaul's Drag Race, it would become Lucifer's Drag Race because he is so cool.
That's got to be available somewhere, isn't it? Like on some streaming service?
You know, I thought it was for a while.
We're going to find it.
BSG?
Yeah, Battlestar Galactica.
Old school.
It's out on DVD.
I'm too lazy to watch it on DVD. I want to watch the old version.
I bought the new series, new quote unquote series on Blu-ray for like $60 for the whole thing, which is actually kind of a bargain.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then it comes on Amazon. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. When they first got it, they didn't include the TV movie on it. It's very strange. You got to buy it. You got to buy the original Battlestar Galactica in Canada, I think. Maybe not.
The version I bought on DVD came in a giant Cylon head case, which
I know of that.
The first season of Doctor Who does not fit well on a shelf.
No, it doesn't.
The Region 2, I'm talking, of course. I mean, you know, Stephen, just for the benefit of others. The season 1 new Who UK release came in a, maybe 6-inch wide or 6-inch square TARDIS. Cardboard TARDIS, and it did not fit on a shelf very well.
Did you have that one? Mm-hmm. You do have that one, probably.
Did have. Yeah. I sold it before I moved to the UK. But bought it way back in the day.
You got it from the UK.
Imported it from the UK at whatever expense.
Yeah. Then sold it to move.
1978 is not available for streaming.
Nope.
And it's hell to find on Amazon, too.
Archive TV is a tough thing. This is why you know what? If Netflix had it, it'd be on Netflix. We'd be watching on Netflix right now. Just saying. Interesting. I'm oddly surprised that like somewhere like Shout Factory TV doesn't have that. You know.
Yeah, that is kind of shocking.
Yeah.
What's annoying is, there's a Blu-ray. Maybe I can't tell. It's hard to tell with this stuff because you can get a version that's $249 that has absolutely everything, old and new.
Oh wow!
But I'm like, I already have the new one in a box. So I'm not going to get that again.
Galactica on iTunes anyway. Galactica is $25. Galactica 1980 is $15.
I would never buy Galactica 1980. Even in 1980, that was disappointing.
Anyway, we've been talking over the this.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We're William Hartnell's getting back to speed after having gone somewhere. The F away from here, I believe, is where he was going during his week off. I don't think he can go too far afield. I know that when Jacqueline Hill went to wherever she went during the Censorites, I think she got 2 weeks off in those days. And clearly she went somewhere sunny because she was very tanned when she got back from the spaceship in episode 5.
I seem to recall that from our Censorites commentary.
Yeah, very tanned. I remember vacations. I remember sun. Those are the days, weren't they? Golly.
You went to Gallifrey one this year. We did not.
I did.
We did
true.
not.
Yeah, but Gallifrey one. How often are you in the sun, really? I mean,
that's true. I'm hissing at it angrily, as it is my enemy.
It was nice. I mean, that's where I did the interviews, but it was nice. It was nice. Oh, they're right behind you. That's a good, I just got knocked out acting by William Russell. He was a damn pro.
And this under the bubble is what we call contents of a junk drawer.
Pretty much. It's like, cover that up. What is...
all these guys have Dragon Ball hair. That's what this is.
Yeah, Dragon Ball hair.
Yeah, that works.
I've had bed hair head similar to that, actually, but...
I have not. I am sad.
Oh. Daco. The Quonsing Grig.
It turns out everybody's at the Quonsing Grig. Barbara of the Quonsing Grig.
It's such a ring to it. It's obviously Robert Holmes' greatest contribution to Doctor Who is of the Quonsing Grig.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one thing we remember him for.
This guy looks like he's hung over.
Who? Which one? Peter Diamond there?
The guy being interrogated here. I was a prisoner guy. Yeah.
Again, I'm really, I'm impressed that Peter Diamond has, had such a large speaking role for being quote unquote a stuntman. Usually you don't give the stuntman this big of a part. So it's good that he had a career on kind of like Max Faulkner, another legendary Doctor Who supporting
artist. You also
artist.
don't often see casting with 3 very disparate height actors.
Yeah.
Unless Stephen Merchant's doing the direction or something.
And of course, since it's the 1960s, not a single woman in the cast.
Not a lady to be found.
The TARDIS team has 2. That's enough, right?
It just goes to show how, obviously they weren't pro women, but like, here's the thing. Women characters just never entered into their minds. This is the default.
That's about right.
Well, we're coming off the Crusade, which has a very strong female character.
That's true, yeah. But whenever they go to space, it's like, no, that's too crazy. Like if we go into history,
women weren't allowed in space. In the 60s.
It's like, let's think of some crazy futuristic ideas in space, and none of them really involve women. It's until you get to Galaxy 4, when guess what? The hook is it's all women. Whoa.
And
in real life, wasn't
82
when the first woman is in space, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, actually, not the first American woman. The first Russian woman is in the 60s, I believe.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So, I'm not one to praise Russia, but they kind of were ahead of the curve on that one.
Oh, the good old space race. That was there should be a Netflix. I mean, if we're gonna trudge through a Netflix documentary series, I will watch one on the 60s space race because that's an interesting time.
I will praise For All Mankind, the Apple TV alternative history series.
Yeah,
it was quite good.
It's and I don't cotton well to alternative history, which I suppose is what we're looking at here because they are changing history because they were in the museum in episode 1.
I don't like alternative history, but my favorite show is about time travel.
Well, this one here is.
I do enjoy alt history, but The Man in the High Castle. That's one I could not.
Yeah, you couldn't do that.
I couldn't get into it either. And I've read the book. The book is good, but I just could not get in the show.
And that lasted, was it 3, 4 seasons?
I think so.
Something like that. They spun off. I think the first season is the book, from what I've heard. They filmed it here. I remember walking by them filming it a couple times. Because they had signs that said, "We have Nazi regalia. Please do not be alarmed." I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I think that's an important sign to have out.
Mm-hmm. True, but this is pre-Trump getting elected, so it wasn't. I mean, it still packed a punch, obviously, but not quite the punch it then packed afterwards.
Yeah, nowadays they just have to go around in semi-trucks.
Good point. All right, this got depressing.
Any arms falling into Xeron hands?
How can arms fall into hands? That's physically impossible.
What a line! What a line!
That looks uncomfortable.
Probably is. Ooh, boxes with switches. I love ray guns. Look at that design. They need
I just
more
so
guns
I'm
like
going,
that.
Is it this guy's last day in the office? Is something really grisly going to happen right now? Well, I had a good run.
I am the angel of death. The time of purification is at hand.
He just traded his last stock, and it's either the window or the ray guy.
Oh boy.
A young Warren G. Harding taught us how to laugh.
Is he an ex-president? What was this?
That's not making fun of the 1920s.
More like Gordon Liddy.
Yeah. Oh, well.
He never taught us how to laugh.
God. Yeah, you're talking about Watergate documentaries again. I'm just going to watch those again. Love Watergate.
One of my favorite things about SCTV is Dave Thomas playing G. Gordon Liddy in completely random situations.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Battle of the Network Stars.
What?
What? You know what? Okay, up until recently, that would have made sense. But no, Rudolph Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani on The Masked Singer. It happened.
Oh my God.
It's basically the same thing you're talking about.
It did. And Ken Jeong walked out.
Kick
And
that.
I got to give him credit for doing that. And then other idiots, whoever they may be, I can't remember their names, they were like, yeah, this is great. I'm like, no, this man tried to subvert your democracy.
Mm-hmm.
He should be walked out on at the very least.
But no, he's a media superstar. I like watching Ian smash that thing.
That's America in a nutshell. Like, I guess maybe in England that would happen, but generally speaking, if somebody is a subversive villain, they don't get a TV show.
Maybe, I bet you that's probably what Lobos here did probably at the end of all this. But I'm thinking, I'm going to go on, Zeros has talent and...
I think, if anything, this show has taught us they do not.
Given the planet's name is Zeros with an X, having a show called The X Factor would just be a natural.
It's right there. It's right there in the name.
That's the news.
there.
That's the nightly news program.
Yeah. What is the use?
Hosted by the X-Men.
Those are the Marvel
no
guys?
women on the planet.
I don't even know what those people are. There's lots of them, right? There's they just keep making new ones.
There's far too many of them.
Yeah.
They're going to work them in the Marvel universe eventually.
And they're not all men either.
All over again.
Oh, God. Well, the Marks will be happy.
The thing is, when Marvel does this, they make it extraordinarily easy just to hop on board. They're very good at this. So
Says someone
it's
who
not
is
the struggle you make it out to be.
Says someone who is a lifetime in these comics, but
I don't know anywhere near as much as a lot of people. There's tons of stuff I miss, and I don't notice. Same with Star Wars. There's tons of Clone Wars stuff in Mandalorian. I couldn't tell you what it is, and I don't care because it doesn't really affect me.
Here's my specific problem with superhero movies. I'm tired of superheroes. That's
fair. That's fair.
That is it. That's where I'm at right now. Just like, oh God, that was vicious. That was a bit vicious there from Boba Fett there. That was like, get off me. I'm going to kill you now. Look at these guys. They just become sadistic murderers.
I just like to point out how great these tube flares are. These are awesome.
Flares. You gotta have hobbies. Like they've just been practicing. They've been practicing with like pea shooters or something till like we're able to rob the armory and shoot everyone down.
And now that you got the real thing, you may as well put it to use.
Yeah.
That guy has a giant hand. I'm sick and tired of the stories about it.
The first such incident.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Why does everybody just talk to him? Like, you don't need to loom over top of him. That only makes camera sense. Also, that thing next to the radio or whatever is a health hazard. That could poke somebody's eye.
I was thinking that too. It was really. I thought it was a theremin at first. It might just be the antenna. Maybe it's ceremonial.
Somebody's gonna trip and impale themselves on it. It's not good.
Yeah.
Health and safety wasn't quite the same in the 60s, though.
I got a ship at the landing port. This reminds me of Don't Look Up 2021.
Well,
not a good film.
No, you watch that for all of us, Warren, because I'm not going to see that.
I watched it.
I mean, it was fine, but it wasn't. It
was
wasn't
not a best picture
worthy. No, absolutely not.
What is though, really? I'll tell you what. All
Coda,
the president's
apparently.
men in 1976. It's all about Watergate.
I can't argue with that. Did it win?
No, it didn't. Rocky won.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, because why? Why wouldn't it? Because it's now 1976. It's the bicentennial. Who wants to watch a movie that takes down a president?
Rocky is a pretty good film.
Yeah, it's a pretty good film. But I think politics and feel-goodism was at play there.
No, that's true.
And kudos to Sylvester Stallone for writing it out because they did not want him to star in it.
Yep.
Even though
he wrote it, so yeah.
And it, I don't know if it's the first. It was certainly one of the first movies to feature the Steadicam.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the first either, but I don't think it was.
No.
I couldn't tell you what the one was, but you're right. Like when he goes up the stairs, right? I think is where
it was running around there at Steadicam.
Can you imagine a 1970s Steadicam? That thing was probably basically a railroad track.
I would love to see pictures of Destiny the Daleks because they had a Steadicam on that for the first and only time.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they did.
Well, I'm sure they do now with the new Who.
They might. They all do, but it's easy to make now. You can get one for your iPhone, for crying out loud.
Exactly. And there's that weird backpack version with a string that I see. I saw somebody shooting with that as I was walking to go shoot something myself for work.
Oh, so like sort of like reach up over their head kind of thing?
Yeah. It's this weird sort of like chandelier looking thing.
Okay.
And they were filming with a black magic camera, as was I.
Oh, was this recently?
It was Thursday.
Oh, I wonder what CW show that's going to be for.
No, this is just somebody's YouTube thing, I think.
As I said, I wonder what CW show that's going to be for.
Fair enough. That's I was thinking about that the other day, not to take away from the last 3 minutes of the Space Museum, but for all our complaining about gray slop and how everything is shot nowadays, the CW was the pioneer of gray slop shooting.
That's true.
All that stuff was just the dullest TV, boring cinematography on film, I believe. So, but they pioneered it looking like bland as hell. I'm sure there are CW stands out there who are going to tell me otherwise, and they're probably right, but I don't care.
There is more color in the Space Museum than some TV show shot today.
Says the colorblind man.
Yeah.
Who was so enthused about it, he's probably adding color from his mind.
Red, green, colorblind. Thank you very much. I said your goodbyes.
Which means you cannot watch the television program, Red Green. So, a blessing in disguise.
Whoa. That's some anti-Steve Smith humor there.
You damn right it is.
Oh, I think there's a bit of romance there. Oh, I thought they were going to kiss for a second, but
a fine tradition of tacked on romance that leads nowhere.
Well, his name is Tor, so Vicky and Tor. The ship name could be Victor.
Victor, it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
He then went on to found the Tor publishing empire.
And the Tor browser.
Exactly.
Tor.com.
Oh, what's happening?
Ah, I know, right? Where are we off
across
to?
the cosmos. To the Daleks? Why the Daleks?
Oh, what? This they're just zooming in on a Doctor Who annual 1965.
Planet's Crater Ton.
Yeah. Crater Ton. Here we go. Oh my god, it's a Dalek. And look at this. As you can see, it's the newly designed Dalek, because it's right when it comes in, there we are. It's got the solar slats. I just assumed they were slats, but Ray Cusick thought, no, there's solar panels to explain why they can travel without static light. So basically, the Daleks were eco-friendly before the most of Earth was.
Yes, they're eco-friendly, absolute murderous terms.
Yeah.
Great, wonderful.
If they spin the sucker arm, they can generate wind power.
Right? We are, mass
And if they murder and eat people, they can use biomass.
Right. Mass exterminations, but with no carbon footprint. I think that's worth getting behind.
What?
Oh, there you go.
It's a bit of a draw, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Who. Oh my God, I can't believe they put that on there.
Here are all the people that were in Doctor Who over the past 4 weeks. Enjoy this. There's Arvo Salter. Let it be. Peter Craze, brother of Michael Craze, of course. Peter Hawkins did the Dalek voice for this and
brother of Stephen Hawking.
Murphy Grumbar.
Murphy Grumbar.
That is a Star Wars name if ever there was one.
Yeah.
That's a bounty hunter name. Yeah.
Definitely.
Good old Denny Spooner.
Murphy Dengar.
Except just get rid of the E. Just Murph Grumbar. It's totally a Star Wars name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Howard King did a lot of lighting in those days. I don't know about Ray Angel.
Daphne Dare's name coming up there.
That's a good comic book name. Daphne
I know, right? I always thought it was, but then I thought it's a comic book name and she's a woman. And how would that be? Berm.
Well, she'd be Dan Dare's sister.
Commentary.
In a story with no women outside the regular cast. Yes.
Yeah.
True.
There we go. Mervyn Pinfield dies about a year after this, believe it or not. He was going to direct Galaxy 4, but had to step away. Yeah, for
and Mission to the Unknown.
Derek Martinez. Yeah. Well, there we go. Maybe we'll get Galaxy 4 because it's animated now. We could do a commentary for it. I just realized, Chris, if that's in the miniscope at all, if not, that's fine. We have so many stories.
It's not, but it will get added after
we choose the next one. Okay, so this is the exciting time. We get to choose what the next commentary will be, except for the animated version of Galaxy 4. But that's all right.
Yeah.
Chris, you've got the randomizer open and ready to go?
You got her.
Awesome. Then begin the spinning of it now.
I see. I'm pretty sure we've done power, I think.
Yeah,
But
we
I
did do
don't think
power.
I've
We did
put-
do power. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't put evil in here either, so that's gonna get added in the second Doctor segment of the randomizer.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. That's cool. All right. Well, that's fun and exciting. Well, I'm intrigued. No offense. I hope we don't get another Hartnell, but you never know. Begin to stop and now stop.
The ultimate foe.
All right.
2 episodes
it's
of
not good.
gloriousness. The end of the Colin Baker era. Goodness me.
The papering over of a whole bunch of junk.
Wow.
It is fun. It'll be fun to comment on.
Gosh, that's it's been a while since I did a 2-parter. That's not going to eat up
Not
much
that
time.
many to do.
We've got like a year and a half to get through. We only have 2. Okay, that's fine. 2 episodes. That's fine. That's fine. I'm looking forward to that because I love Colin Baker Doctor Who. I love Trial of Time Lord, and it's Robert Holmes' last-ish episodes ever. So there we go. Next classic series commentary.
Megabyte and indeed.
Oh boy, howdy! It's gonna be fun. Gonna be fun. Join us for that, won't you? For the next commentary and indeed the next episode of Radio Free Skaro. We hope you will be there for us, just like we're there for you. Until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Born in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro. Subscribe to us on iTunes and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.